The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to my show, The Right Side. Doug Billings here with you today. On the program, I'm going to talk about the absolute mess that the Biden and radical liberal agenda has gotten us into with regards to immigration. I'm going to talk about how the military, 75% and up, support Trump and what he's doing with regards to immigration, and the Gold Star families support him with regards to how he is trying to keep illegal criminals and terrorists out of the country. A look at two different views of America. Today, ladies and gentlemen, The Right Side with Doug Billings is now upon you. Are you ready? Let's go.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hey everybody, my name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to do a big shout out for my great friend and one of the best in the business, Mr. Doug Billings. Right Side with Doug Billings, Right Side with Doug Billings. Doug is the future of the airwaves when it comes to independent broadcasters and podcasters. He is the new Rush Limbaugh. He's exactly what America needs right now, looking for honesty, looking for wisdom, looking for truth, looking for patriotism. Listen to Doug Billings at Right Side with Doug Billings. God bless you and God bless America, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. We're winning, winning, winning. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Are you ready?
We are not liberal snowflakes who melt away in the face of tragedy, adversity, and challenge. We are a covenant nation under God, and his divine providence is not dead and it's not gone. It is living within each and every one of you. And you will bring it to life in such a way that the world has never seen before. We never back down. We never give up. We march forward.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hi, welcome back. I am going to dive into a topic that's got the whole country talking, or at least it should be talking about this. I'm going to take a look at President Trump's bold move to revoke visas for immigrants that have come here from Afghanistan and other third world countries. Folks, this is not prejudicial. This is not overreach. This is not fear-mongering. This is exactly what needs to be happening. We need to take care of who comes into this republic. Everyone over here on the right side is absolutely in favor of legal migration. And once they legally migrate, they have got to begin to assimilate into our culture. We've got two brave National Guard troops gunned down by someone who never should have been in this country in the first place. Again, it has happened. Now, let me set the scene. November 26th, the day before Thanksgiving of all days, when an Afghan national named Rahimullah Lakanawal ambushed two of our heroes in uniform near the White House. And I'm going to name these two victims, these heroes, United States Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom and Air Force Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf. Sarah, unfortunately, has passed away from her injuries. Andrew is battling for his life with a head injury, and it's day-to-day with him. I just read a post on social media from his mother. The doctors say that he's doing better than expected. However, with a head injury and a brain swell issue, you never know where you're going to go. In fact, it gets worse before it gets better. And I have had experience with people who I love who have suffered severe brain injuries. And it is a long road ahead for this young serviceman. And I hope and wish and pray that he has a complete recovery, a miraculous complete recovery, and prayers for comfort out to his family. These heroes were doing their duty, ladies and gentlemen, nothing more. Standing guard in D.C., preventing crime, preventing riots, preventing anarchy, which is the secret sauce to the chaos that the radical liberal party in America wants. And then, bam, out of nowhere, this guy opens fire. And the FBI treating it as a possible international terrorism event, and thank goodness for that. Thank you, Kash Patel. Both troops shot in the head. Both troops severe injury. Sarah has passed on. Lakanawal's in custody, but the damage is done, obviously. Now, who is this guy? How did he get here? He entered the United States back in September of 2021 under Administrator Biden's so-called Operation Allies Welcome. Remember that nonsense? It was part of the chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal, the debacle that it was, where we pulled out in total disaster, leaving behind billions of dollars in Tier 1 United States military equipment and arming the Taliban in Afghanistan better than most of our allies in that region. God knows how many allies and enemies were involved in all of this, but you can't tell. They weren't vetted. You don't know who was brought in, who's an ally, who's an enemy. And this individual that we're talking about who did the shooting in this event worked with United States entities in Afghanistan, including the CIA, but apparently no one vetted him well enough to know what was his true intent. It's one thing to sweet talk your way into a job and work with the CIA because you're a national with an accent and the native language so you can interpret. It's quite another to be able to be then allowed into the country as a friendly. So he slips in during the fall of Kabul. He gets resettled here. And 4 years later, he's allegedly trying to kill our troops on American soil. And let's get rid of the word allegedly. He did try to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not some isolated incident. It's a direct result of Biden's open border madness and the easy access, quote unquote, that he gave to thousands of Afghans without a second thought. And let me be clear, ladies and gentlemen, the vetting mess that included the admittance of this guy, Lochinwall. Some folks are trying to pin this on Trump, but that is absolute nonsense. This was a bloated, bureaucratic nightmare cooked up entirely by the Biden administration. Last April, apparently, this guy's visa was renewed by that bloated, monstrous system that needs to be torn down. In fact, Trump has worked, especially during that recent government shutdown we had. Trump removed thousands of people, the bureaucrats, the unelected people who sit in offices and determine the course and the trajectory of our lives here within this republic. Gone. Cutting down, emptying, draining the swamp, however you want to phrase it, getting rid of the bureaucracy. So this was completely under Operations Allies. Welcome. That program that Biden put in, and it remains. This blood is on his hands. It's on the radical liberal left. It rushed tens of thousands of Afghans with slapdash checks and very minimal vetting, biometrics here, interviews there, but critics are slamming it because it was too lax. It's too lackadaisical, letting potential threats slip through, and they have. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Surely you must know that when we saw those massive numbers of people migrating across our southern border, that there are people in this country who want to do great harm to us. Surely both sides of the aisle can agree to that. Lochinwall entered in September of 2021 on Biden's watch. He got humanitarian parole and later asylum. And under that flaw system that Biden owns, he remained. Now, President Trump, he had nothing to do with it. And now he's slamming the door shut, pausing all visa processing for Afghan nationals, halting immigration applications from Afghanistan and from high-risk spots, and even banning entry from 19 third world countries. This is the kind of prudence, this is the kind of vetting we need to keep each other safe. It's beyond me why liberals can't see this. This tragedy, squarely Biden's fault for prioritizing speed over security. And Trump is fixing it, putting America first, finally, the things that we, at least the majority of us, voted for. Many of these illegals don't like America one bit. They see us as the enemy. And they're here because of policies that prioritized, as I said, speed over security. Darren Hoover, who was a Gold Star father who lost his son, Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover, in the Abbey Gate bombing back in 2021, put it perfectly. He said that this shooting is on, quote, the feckless Biden administration. They didn't vet the people properly, ladies and gentlemen, especially the State Department under Tony Blinken. Anthony Blinken needs to be called in next, and he will. He will be summoned in to testify, and you will see an indictment against Anthony Blinken. Mark my words. In Mr. Hoover's words, the Gold Star father, quote, "We had no idea who was getting into the country. There were so many people put onto the planes that got out initially that we have no idea who they were." And he's right. He's talking about men of fighting age, ladies and gentlemen, terrorists who were rushed in without proper checks. And he's right. The incident confirms everything, every warning that we had about that botched evacuation. Think about it. The Abbey Gate attack on our troops in Afghanistan when we were pulling out in that abject debacle killed 13 of our service members, including Hoover's son. And now we're seeing the fallout right here at home. Former CIA Director John Ratcliffe nailed it also, saying that this guy, quote, should have never been allowed to come in here. Our citizens and our troops, ladies and gentlemen, deserve better than this. It should be a bipartisan issue. We should all be agreeing to this. Whether or not you like Trump, you don't like his personality, whatever. We have to agree that we need to know who's coming into this country as a bare minimum. And I think most of you do. But under Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris, it was all about virtue signaling. Bring them in fast. Worry about the details later. We are a country that loves immigration. We love immigrants. We welcome them. Well, later is now, ladies and gentlemen, and we're paying the price. That's why President Trump's action couldn't come at a better time. Just in the last few days, he's announced a permanent pause on the migration from all third world countries, halting the process of immigration applications for Afghan nationals, pausing all visas for anyone traveling on Afghan passports, and even putting a stop to asylum decisions across the board. He's expanding bans to include countries like Haiti, Somalia, Sudan, hotspots, danger spots, and more, up to 19 nations, as I mentioned. And they are re-examining every green card that has been issued. It's not just talk. It is a sweeping crackdown to protect and put America first, ladies and gentlemen, should be an issue that we all agree to. I think that people out there have so much Trump derangement syndrome that no matter what the guy does, they will combat, they will resist because they are mindless followers of the radical liberal hierarchy. Trump knows that after incidents like this one, we can't afford to keep rolling the dice. He's demanding a reverse migration, and he's right to do it. Send back everyone who poses a threat. And so finally, we have a leader who's putting safety ahead of political correctness. We have loved Trump for that since day one. But let's go a little bit deeper, because this just isn't about one shooting, is it? Thousands, tens of thousands of people who harbor real hatred for America and our way of life have slipped into this country underneath the Biden administration. Some may well be, they might be plotting mass casualty events right now. How can we not be sure of that? Why aren't we defaulting to safety, defaulting to the probability or the likelihood that they may indeed be planning these mass casualty events? God forbid something big, dirty bombs or whatever you want to talk about, EMP devices, electromagnetic pulse, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri. We've heard reports of terror watch list people coming in across the southern border, unchecked, blending in with society. Biden's open borders let criminals in this country. And yes, among them are potential terrorists. We must agree to that. Clearly, the odds would point to that. And the numbers are staggering. What was it, 20 million people or so encountered at the border? Many from countries that sponsor terror against America. And here's the even bigger threat that nobody in the mainstream media wants to talk about. the uncontrolled influx of Muslims into this country, and especially those who refuse to assimilate into our society and into our culture, one of the bare minimum requirements of citizenship. These radical Islam, ladies and gentlemen, does not reorganize. It does not change. These aren't the folks who came here to build a better life and embrace American values. They are here to spread Islam, take over the Western Hemisphere, and make sure that they outbreed and take over everyone in whose country to each country they migrate to. If you've ever been to Europe lately, especially countries like Germany, Italy, France, the UK is now experiencing it. They've got no-go zones in these countries, folks, where police don't go because of the dangers to them. Cultural clashes that happen often. And it's beginning to start here. Sharia law sympathizers creating parallel societies within America. Are you kidding me? Radical ideologies that clash with our Constitution. It's a slow erosion of what makes America great, and they do it everywhere they go. And the media calls all of this diversity. Yes, we must have diversity, and this is one of the examples, Mr. Billings, of diversity. The beautiful Islam religion is a peaceful religion, right? Just like the riots we saw were mostly peaceful. Sure. It's a violent division of thought about ideology in the American way, ladies and gentlemen. People need to assimilate, no matter what religion, no matter what ethnic background, they need to assimilate into America and to our Constitution and the intent of the Founding Fathers. And Trump gets this. That's why his visa revocation targets these high-risk areas. We need legal immigrants who are here because they love America genuinely, not those who want to change it into something unrecognizable. The liberal elite and the media mouthpieces are silent, by and large, on this particular issue. They spend hours on climate change, on other hoaxes, on Trump bashing. But when it comes to real threats like this, they look the other way. Why? Because it doesn't fit their agenda. Their narrative of open borders and endless amnesty, which leads to one of their desired states. And this is the state they desire the most. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. They want the state of chaos in America. You've seen it, especially since the Biden administration. You saw it after Trump beat Hillary the first time in 2016. Liberals, for whatever reason, and I know there, and I'm talking about radical liberals. There are some people who are Democrat, who believe they really are Democrat. Those John and Jane Doe on the streets of Kansas City who think that they're still, they don't realize, of course, that the Democrat Party doesn't exist anymore. The Democrat Party of John F. Kennedy, the Democrat Party of Bill Clinton, for crying out loud, doesn't exist. This radical left mob on the left who occupy a minority of that party, I get it, but they're the loudest and they've taken over. The agenda is theirs now. And it is to, as Barack Obama said in his most un-American phrase ever, America needs to be fundamentally transformed. The most un-American, anti-American statement anyone, especially a president, has ever uttered. America, ladies and gentlemen, does not need to be fundamentally transformed. It needs to be fundamentally rediscovered, perhaps, in the terms and conditions that the founders recognized as inspired by God, most certainly. Because we've fallen so far away from what the founders intended for this republic, thanks to this radical fraction of what used to be named the Democrat Party, now, as I call them, the Communist Socialist Party. They paint everyone who wants to secure borders as xenophobic. But ask the families of the victims. They know better, my friends. Speaking of which, what about the backbone of our nation, our military and our Gold Star families? Upwards of 75% of them support President Trump and what he's doing, his tough stance on immigration and bringing back law and order. They're outraged, just like most of us who have common sense at the radical liberal agenda that patronizes or prioritizes, I should say, foreigners over our heroes. These families, ladies and gentlemen, have sacrificed in so many ways. Obviously, the toughest and the most severe is losing a loved one. And they're able to see firsthand the chaos that policies from the radical left and Biden have created. Gold star dads like Darren Hoover, who I mentioned a moment ago. He's out there leading the charge, blasting the administration of Biden for their incompetence. Hoover has been fighting for accountability since Abbygate, calling out Biden for claiming that troops died on his watch, and he's right. Biden didn't write letters to these parents. He didn't even meet with the parents. And now with Washington, D.C. and this shooting, it's like salt in the wound. These families aren't buying the spin being put forth by the radical left. They want borders closed. They want vetting ramped up and threats deported. And that's what they're getting. We will, by the end of this year, have set a record in this country for the most deportations ever. Violent, criminal, illegal immigrants. So Trump is listening to these people. And this is why we voted Trump back in. This is why he got the majority of the vote by a landslide, absolutely crushing it in the Electoral College. And I can hear the liberals right now, we're going to get rid of the Electoral College. One of the most brilliant pieces and devices ever comprised or imagined and put into place. The liberals want to get rid of it. But Trump isn't afraid, is he? He's not afraid to act decisively. Pausing visas for Afghanistan, check. Banning immigration from terror-prone third world nations, check. Re-examining the green cards of everyone to root out the risks, absolutely, check. It's about time, ladies and gentlemen, that we put America first. If we don't, incidents like this shooting are going to continue to increase without exception. Our troops, our cities, our way of life are all on the line here, and you cannot understate that. So what can we do? Well, I suggest that you stay informed. Contact your leaders. Make sure that they know that you want to support Trump, and they should too. Call your representatives. Share the truth of this program. Share this episode out. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen, at The Right Side, Doug Billings. Head over to dougbillings.us. Check out our website. Prayerfully consider setting up a recurring monthly contribution of $5 a month. I never charge you to watch this show, but it takes money to produce it. So you're just helping the cause. YouTube channel, subscribe to it. Set your notifications so that you're notified when I drop new content, and then dougbillings.us for the contribution on a monthly basis. That's how we'll keep the truth going. But share this. Let's have each other's backs. After all, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to believe in America. We've got to believe that we've got to work together. We've got to believe that we are in this together. Believe it for the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the set of my show, Doug Billings. Hey, my good friends at EMP Shield, that's electromagnetic pulse, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri. Electromagnetic pulse could wipe out your home electrical system, could wipe out your vehicle. And thanks to the radical liberal agenda that was put forth under Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris, there are lots of people in this country who want to do us harm. And maybe an EMP device would be their chosen weapon. But EMP Shield gives you a device that can protect you. This little baby here goes on your home outlets, a computer, a router, whatever you want to protect. And then they also have a larger model like this. You can still hold it in the palm of your hand that goes on your vehicle battery so that you can get out of trouble from point A to point B. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug, ladies and gentlemen. Save yourself. Save your property. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug. We're in this together, folks. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.